Hey, Larry.
Hey, Mayor.
Hi, Lyle.
Hello there, Mayor.
Beth, are you gonna show your video, or are you just gonna listen? She's on. Can you unmute her, Lyle?
She can do it.
Okay, I didn't know whether she can if she can hear me. Hi, Lee. No, Lee's got here, but she's not listening.
Hey, Jim, I heard you. How are you feeling today?
Hi, Lee. Doing okay?
Good.
You got the checks back, I guess. Okay.
I did. Thank you. I'm working on it now.
Hi, Beth.
Hi, everybody. Jim.
We've got. Is that Vaughn Charles or Charles Vaughn?
It's yeah, he's got a confusing name. Let me see.
I know it, but he's on there supposedly. He's connecting to audio.
It's Vaughn Charles
That's what I thought.
because their emails are last name, comma, first name.
That's right.
Yeah, so
Vaughn's trying. Hey, there you go, Vaughn. Vaughn's still connected. Hello, Mark Weber.
We try that again. Greetings. How are you all?
Yeah, good. Good, Mark. Welcome.
Thank you. You think after 77 Zoom calls in 3 months, I'd remember to unmute.
Well, you almost need a checkoff list. If you knew what I was wearing for pants, you'd understand.
My daughter works for a municipality in upstate New York, and it's a small little town. I think they've got about 18,000 per population, and she has had to become a kind of a sort of technology expert because she's the person who runs their board meetings, but she's had to just figure this all out. And so she and I have kind of laughed about some of the parallels in our lives through this whole pandemic situation.
Whereabouts in upstate New York? Beth's from upstate New York.
Oh, well, she's just outside of Syracuse in a community that's Manlius.
Beth, you know
Okay.
Manlius? Do you know that?
no, I don't. I'm from Western New York, Buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah, so
It's been a long time
not
since
too far.
she's a Southern girl now, though.
40 plus years.
We don't miss that snow, do we, Beth?
No. No.
But you
It's
said
nice
a
here.
small community of 18,000. You know, Beth's a little bigger than Belle Meade.
Yeah. Just about 6 times.
Yeah, we got about. I think the last census was 2,900. So we. And that's Vaughn Charles. He's on and logged in.
I am.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Brad's on now. Brad's got, there you go. Brad's on. Okay, good. Brad, let's see. We got everybody on from NES.
Yes, sir. We've got me and Aaron Foster are here together, conference
Okay.
room.
Okay,
We don't
good.
have, so.
So
We'll start in just a minute. We'll see if Adam's going to turn his mic. There he goes.
Oh, I'm here. Sorry.
I guess we got everybody now. Good.
Guess so.
Well, I am Jim Hunt. I'm the mayor of Belle Meade, and the only non-paid member of this group here totally. And you'll recognize why when we get through this meeting. Welcome and thanks to getting the NES folks together for participation in this Zoom call. Let me first introduce the Belle Meade people and their responsibilities. First of all is Beth Reardon, and Beth is our city manager. Lyle Patterson is our assistant city manager and director of building and codes. Larry Smith is our public works director, and Lee Mills is our finance director. So we've got our key folks here. And if I could ask Brad to introduce the NES folks and what their roles are, we'll take it from there.
Sure. So I'm Brad McKelvey, streetlight engineer. Erin Foster is also here. She's another streetlight engineer. Vaughn Charles is our manager. And then Mark Weber and Adam are from our accounting group.
Good. We got questions for all of you. The purpose of the meeting today is to discuss the proposed purchase of the street lights on Belle Meade Boulevard and, of course, the installation. The meeting specifically, we'd like to talk about several things with questions. General topics are going to be questions on the investment charge, the amortization of the new fixtures, remaining amortization, if any, on the old fixtures, the payment plan options we can use for the new fixtures, and then the installation and approval of the plan for installation. With that, Beth, you want to give us some questions that you had specifically on what we want to purchase?
The email that I sent out this morning with the questions, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. Well, I'll just go through, first of all, I think the, samples that we desire to purchase and understanding of what the cost per samples will cost and cost each.
Okay. I uploaded, we've got PDF pictures of the schematic drawings of the light fixture and the ball style arm fitter and the masked arm or the decorative arm. We did decide on the teardrop LED lighting. And then if you keep scrolling down, yeah, the deep skirt there with the red box around it, that's the Hall of Fame, I guess it's Esplanade, with the deep skirt is what the commissioners chose. So hopefully that is this item you can stock, because that is our preference. And then also, Lyle, if you could go to the mast arm, there it is. This is also from Hall of Fame. And all of these drawings were sent by Sean Clare from Hall of Fame. He's also delivered the actual samples to City Hall so that everyone can see them. They're a beautiful fixture. Everyone agrees that it's something we'd love to see on the boulevard. So hopefully it'll work out that all these items can be stocked and the pricing is not too outrageous.
If I could ask a question, this is for the benefit of everyone on the call. Beth, maybe if yourself or Brad, if one of you could just speak a little bit about how we got to this point, maybe what's there, what we're trying to accomplish, and kind of how we got to the point where we're looking at fixtures and trying to replace fixtures.
That's a good point. Beth and Lyle Beth and Larry could pick that up too.
Okay.
Well, Brad actually contacted the city of Belle Meade a while back about the fact that NES could no longer stock continued items such as the light fixture that we have and the wood mast arms. So we had a few up in our public works garage, which I think have since been used as replacements. So we are really out of replacements for the existing fixtures on Belle Meade Boulevard. And this is for Belle Meade Boulevard only. We're not talking about any of the side streets. These are decorative mast arms and fixtures that I think were installed probably 25, 30 years ago. So again, Brand had notified us that these items were discontinued and we needed to seriously reconsider what we were going to do on the boulevard and either pick out something new or, go with just the standard street lighting that we see all over Davidson County. So this is where we ended up. But Brad, if you want to add anything else, please go right ahead.
Yeah, that's correct. Hall of Fame has discontinued that light fixture, so they're no longer making it. So that's why we kind of brought this whole thing up. And then the wooden mast arms were a specialty item that was always a little bit tricky to figure out how to get. And so that's kind of how we got to this point.
Okay. Okay.
So we know where we want to go, we think. And so I think we need to talk about what our understanding of what the cost of each item is going to be. And Beth, you have the numbers that was given to, did Brad provide those to you?
No, we don't have any exact numbers.
Okay.
He estimated in an email that, this could be about $300,000. I guess, I know I wasn't clear if that was just the fixtures, the equipment only, or is that equipment plus installation? So I think we're at a really high level of cost estimation right now. We've got to drill down to see what each of these fixtures, components of our fixture are going to cost, and plus guarantee that they can be stocked by NES for a while, so that we'll have replacements when things get damaged.
Larry, can you tell us how many light fixtures, how many poles are going to be involved, and how many light fixtures?
114 is what we have a count on.
That's per pole, or are they two per pole? What is that?
My understanding, it's 114 light fixtures total.
Okay. All right.
That's correct. It's 57 poles with two fixtures
Gotcha.
each.
Got you, Brad. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, I didn't know that.
And Beth, who gave you the financing? Who gave you the general overall number? Did Brad give that to you?
Yes, that came from Brad.
Okay.
I don't know where he got it within it, but the email was from him.
Okay.
Correct. So the way we arrived at that ballpark number was we used some existing light fixtures and existing arms that are similar in style. And that is an estimated cost of the total change to the City of Belle Meade's lighting plant value. And so, the reason that matters is that's the number that we use to calculate the investment charge, which was kind of your first item on your email. The investment charge is annual percentage that's calculated based off a TVA formula for outdoor lighting. And so we take the total lighting plant value for all the lighting facilities associated with the Belle Meade lighting account. And then we do 13% of that annually and divide it by 12 months. And that's how we arrive at the number for your monthly investment charge, which I believe is in the $1,600 range per month right now.
Currently,
That sound right?
it is. I looked at the past, I think since around 2017, we've been in the $1,600 range. Prior to that, I don't have invoices that go back real far, but 2015, it was at $2,300, give or take, a month. So that's as far back as I have on record for detailed invoicing numbers.
Brad, what lights are included in that investment charge? Is it just the Belle Meade Boulevard lights, or is it other lights in the city that are our responsibility?
That's the entirety of all lighting plant that we have associated with your street lighting account. So that's all the street lights in the City of Belle Meade. That's the fixtures, the arms, any poles that are dedicated solely to lighting would be incorporated in that, and any wire that is needed to feed those lights would all be incorporated in that plant value.
Okay, that does open up some other questions. There are street lights on like Harding Place, not Harding Road, but Harding Place. Can you identify? We were having trouble identifying the lights that were in that are considered Belle Meade that we're paying for versus the ones that the city or the state or someone else may be paying for.
Okay, well, we've got some pretty detailed mapping of each location that we're billing you for. I'm not sure if Larry and Beth have received a update on those recently, but we'd be glad to send the GIS data and counts.
That's great.
Where those are.
That's great.
That would
let
be
us.
helpful.
That would let us separate. That would let us separate the Belle Meade lights, the Belle Meade Boulevard lights from the other lights, plus the ones that we might feel that be in another account. So that'll be great if we can look at that.
Sorry, can I ask, did you say it was the annual percentage, which is 13%, times the total plant value divided by 12?
That's correct. So
Okay.
the current plant value is around $155,000.
What happens if we put the new fixtures in? How is that investment charge adjusted at that point?
So any remaining costs that are in the plant record for the Belle Meade fixtures and arms would come out of that plant value, and then all new materials and labor associated with that install would be added into plant.
Is that like an amortization of the old fixtures, or is that, if the old fixtures should be totally depreciated and shouldn't have any, since we did pay for those, I guess, didn't we? I don't know exactly how that was paid for, or do we paying for that in that investment charge, or how are we paying for the old Belle Meade street lighting now, the Boulevard street lighting?
Right. So I'll let Mark speak a little bit to the depreciation, but as of right now, we're showing around $25,000 associated with those 114 fixtures. And so that would be, any cost that, that is remaining from a depreciation, but also anytime we go out there and do any work on that and, put up a new fixture, that new fixture cost and the maintenance time associated with that work would go back into plant as a brand new fixture.
Lee, you got that?
Yes, I was writing that down. Thank you.
Beth, do you understand that?
So you're saying $25,000 is in that $155,000 from the original purchase?
That's what I see on the plant records. Mark and Adam,
Yes.
I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, no, we agree.
Can you tell us what the total purchase was?
Well, are you talking, we're just focused on Belle Meade Boulevard, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Belle Meade Boulevard.
Yes. So we've got that the total of all of the fixture types that are associated with Belle Meade Boulevard, and this does have some replacements that Brad was mentioning. So, for example, if it gets knocked down by a car or something like that, we've got it about 32,007 is what we have in our system. And I would say that I think we need to go back. We've got some older records that I need to pull out of storage to see if this stuff is in there to really answer your question about what's the net depreciable value.
Do you have the number of years that it's depreciated?
Not that I can tell you we depreciate them over 18 years.
Pardon, 18?
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm gonna have to get the big face here. I have to get close to my microphone. It's 18.2 years.
Okay, thank you.
It's a 5.5. We take depreciation at 5.5% per year.
Oh, okay.
Has that been something that's been done for years? Is that a kind of a standard procedure?
You're asking about the depreciation process?
Yes, about the depreciation.
Yes. Yes. The depreciation is actually something that was established by the Tennessee Valley Authority. And that was based on some big studies that they did. So we're required to follow those guidelines.
So the new fixtures would be thrown in there and handled on that same 18-year basis? Okay.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. We'll probably have more questions down the road on that, but that's a good explanation. I do appreciate that, Mark.
Oh, we're happy to help.
What payment plan would be available to us if this $300,000 that Beth mentioned would be close to accurate? How would that work out to us?
Well,
am I trying to oversimplify that?
No, you're not, and this is a little bit complicated, and so I don't know that we can exactly answer your question today. I think we wanted to meet as a group and understand what your ask is and what the need is, and then we need to have some discussions. And Vaughn, I probably should maybe turn this over to you, but I think we need to. He's like, no, go ahead and finish it.
No, go ahead.
Let the bean counters do
but
it.
I do have the simplest answer for you. I think I believe in a world where if the city of Belle Meade wants to pay for this up front, that would probably be the cleanest, simplest, and easiest for everyone on our side, at least.
And if we could talk, if we could talk getting a deal from NES, that might even be more advantageous to us. Now, if we did pay cash for this, get this on our books and off of your books, then are we back to the 1,600? Are we going to have we're going to have a little bit more than that per month? We're going to still have a monthly investment charge that would have to be calculated, correct?
I'm going to throw it back in Mark's wheelhouse, but I do think actually if you pay it up front, it hits our books at zero cost at that point. Is that right, Mark? If we're going to be intended to maintain and keep it.
That's right. Anytime any of our customers purchase assets that we energize, those are called contributed assets, and they come onto our books at zero cost. And so in this instance, because it would have zero cost, it would have no impact on your investment charge.
Well, that sounds like that might be a lot better deal for us to keep it off your books and onto ours as a capital investment on our part, and you all wouldn't be showing that. That's great. What about maintenance? And Larry, I'm throw it back to you. What maintenance does NES do now on the current fixtures, and what would you see they would do on the new ones over a 10 or 15-year period?
Just an actual replacement of them if they go out or if they're damaged. And along with that, Brad, did we get any credit for those 5 that we pulled out of the shop that we had on the shelf? Do we get credit for those?
I don't know exactly what you mean by credit, but we would not have charged you for the cost of those.
Okay,
Like,
that's what I was at. That's what I was at. I didn't want that to be added because those came off the shelf.
We had already paid for those. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, correct. Those would be just like Mark's talking about. It contributed.
Okay.
The value of the fixture would be a zero value.
And Brad, you can answer that question probably better than I can. Also, as far as the repairs and what y'all do for us.
Right. So we maintain the lighting system, and so that includes the fixtures, the arms. Of course, those poles are distribution poles for us. So, of course, we maintain those, and then the wire feeding them, the transformers feeding them. That's all included, as part of that investment charge. That's what you get for that investment charge, and so. We would add this light fixture. We have the fixture. The skirt would be the addition to have the look that you guys are going for. So we would add that to stock, and we would add this arm for stock, specifically for Belle Meade Boulevard. And then we would stock and maintain the fixtures and arms, you know, from the time they're installed going forward.
But when those are replaced, Brad, Beth, they would be increasing slightly our investment charge, right? Because even if we pay upfront for the 114 fixtures, if you're going to stock extra ones for replacement, when you replace them, that's going to add to our investment charge, correct?
We could
That-
pay for
that-
those. Couldn't we pay for those just as we?
Right.
Well, so the way the maintenance program works for the things that we're going to stock and have on hand so that our guys can get them out of our storeroom and go fix them right away
Mhm.
are going to be things that would, you know, it'd be a capital cost that we incur that would go into that plant value. You know, and any cost that was remaining from the existing would come out. And so from the existing fixture. So that's right. If they went in at zero, they would be a zero coming out, and then the capital cost associated with the maintenance would go in.
So does that mean, like right now we have, you said $155,000 at our plant value, and 25,000 of that was the remaining value of the former lighting, or the current lighting, I should say.
Correct.
So that 25,000 would come out of the 155.
Yep.
Then the 300,000 gets added in if we purchase it, or no?
So the total estimated that I had was around the $300,000 number. That would, I think I had 310. So, you know, 310 minus that 25 would be 285. So I just kind of rounded up to a $300,000 increase as a ballpark number for this project.
So our
and
investment
that's what-
charge would be based on the 300,000, net 300,000.
Yeah, so you'd take out the 25, and then you'd add in approximately another 300,000. And so you would, in effect, go from around 150 to, you know, around 425, 430, that ballpark.
That's if we don't pay anything up front, correct?
That's right. That's if NES does all the work and it all goes against the investment charge. If you do it all up front and pay it all up front, and then I'll let Mark clarify anything I'm saying that may be wrong, but my understanding is that if the costs are paid up front, you know, they would not go into the plant. So all you would be doing would be reducing that existing 25,000 associated with the existing fixtures. Your investment charge would actually go down
Go down.
accordingly.
Now, Brad, does
130 or something.
where are the installation costs calculated or added in? Is that included in this 300,000 that you're giving us, or is that an extra charge?
Yeah, so I included the installation cost of the material and the labor to take down the old, put up the new.
Right.
And so, like I said, that's a ballpark estimate.
Sure.
Using existing fixtures that we have on hand. You know, I can't predict what Hall of Fame's going to do price-wise on a project like that. If you were to hire someone to install those instead of NES, there may be some difference on, you know, the cost of the labor. There's a lot of factors
Sure.
that could play into it.
Well, our preference would be to let NES install them and.
Sure.
And,
I was just wanting to clarify that the installation charges
It's
weren't,
included.
again, another separate fee that we needed
So
to
this really would be this, whatever this number works out to be, 310, 300, whatever, is a turnkey price if we want to write a check and pay for it. Is that, so that would be installation. It wouldn't be any maintenance. Is that correct?
I think that's-
That's right. That's the install of the taking down of the old, install the new. And, you know, once we got this authorization to proceed from you guys, you know, we would add those fixtures and arms to stock so that we could give you a more precise cost. You know, and then, you know, how that all works out, I'll leave, like I said, to Mark and Adam to kind of clarify how that payment process would work.
Sure.
Beth, Lee, have you all figured out what the cost savings to us would be if we write the check? When you can you figure that if we pay for it?
We have not figured that yet, but
No, but you know how you got the numbers, you got the information you need to figure the
we've got
cost.
the ballpark numbers, yeah. that
Well,
we've
we
been
haven't received permission or agreement from the commissioners yet to do it that way, but I would like to think that we could, if the savings are generous enough in the long run, that we would like to pay for them. The cash is not the problem. Just a matter of, is it going to be a profitable or a good decision for us to make? It sounds like from what I'm hearing that it would be a good decision to make. So,
Looks
Beth,
like the annual reduction in the investment charge would be around $3,300.
that's per what?
for annual, okay.
That's annually.
You say annually?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we would need to figure out how many over what period of time. That's just going to be an infinite, I guess. Not infinite, not to Belle Meade, but I got you. And we're currently paying, Beth,
1640, 16, yeah, 1640 and 1670 or 80. It fluctuates a little bit each month.
Okay. I'm with you. You all have any questions to ask us? I think we would like you to I don't know. Lee's going to probably be the person to ask, but to have a proposal to us based upon what we talked about, the fixtures we want, how many fixtures we want, and all. I think the only thing I would see would be any difference is whether we pay for it or whether it's financed through NES.
And I'll jump in there, and Mark, I'm gonna lean on you on this, but we, as a company, we would have to have approval to finance a project of this size, which means we'd have to.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm saying that probably would not be what we would do, but I think that since, you know, if you all financed it, would you still own the lights, or we'd own the lights with a note to pay the financing? I guess that would be traditional business. I don't know if that's how you all would do it. I don't know if we did that before in the other fixtures. Do you all have the records you think that would show? Are there any papers that we signed when we put these fixtures in?
I would guess not. So this is one of the things that we're in a little bit of a green field here in terms of this approach. And that's the reason that Vaughn is saying if you all want to pay for this up front, it will make all of this a lot easier. I'll need to work with the Tennessee Valley Authority and the executives here at NES to figure out what our options are in terms of if you're not paying for all this up front.
What I don't want to do is make a decision, or even our commissions to make a decision for all of our residents if it's not the best decision, or if we hadn't considered everything, I guess is what I'm saying.
Certainly.
Okay.
Certainly.
I have a question, Brad. I guess this is for you. What is the time frame if we reach an agreement with NES pretty quickly and want to go ahead? What is the time frame for the installation?
So I think, the main driver of the time frame is going to be procurement of the materials.
Okay.
Once we get the go ahead from you guys, we'll begin the procurement process. That's the thing that's going to be the longest lead time. I think once we have all the fixtures and arms on site and ready to go, I think, our plans and designs for installation will be ready to go as soon as those, are here in NES, in our storerooms. And so, once they're here, it's not a long turnaround time, but I think that's the main thing. I have no idea, with the sample, it took quite a while. And I'm not sure if that's just because it was a sample, but I would think you're going to be looking at, you know, at least a couple months, if not longer, from when we get the green light to actually having them up on the street.
Brad, do you all
Okay.
have any of these fixtures installed anywhere in Nashville now?
So we do have the same fixture, like I said, without the skirt. It's just an open globe at the bottom. There's a new MDHA development in East Nashville that has them. Hendersonville has a few up in the Indian Lake area. Aaron, do you remember, do we have them? I feel like there's a couple other projects I'm just not bringing to mind right now, but
Could you look those up and tell us so we might ride around to see those, to see at least one. None of them have skirts though.
none of them skirts, and we do have the sample, and
Yeah,
you know,
we
we've
got
been,
a sample, but I would like to see it up on a pole too, just to.
right, yeah, and so we'd love to work with Larry and Beth to get that up on a pole, and a crew could be glad to.
Oh, you're
you
gonna
know,
do it
kind of-
here? Okay, well that's
Oh, that'd be great.
even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just need to work out a time when we can get that from you guys and hang it up. I believe there's a kind of an example pole in the parking lot near City Hall of the existing arms. We could
That
hang
might
this
be a good
light
place
on the
to
same
look.
pole.
That's great.
Okay. That
We can.
sounds great.
Can you do that this afternoon?
Yeah, let me get in my bucket truck and I'll come over and do it.
Brad,
You
I'm going with you, Brad. I've had enough accounting for today.
This has been great. This has been a great discussion. Lyle, do you have any questions?
I do. I just got a couple. I realize these are a more efficient bulb than what we currently have. What's the life expectancy of the bulb?
Well, so there's no bulb. It's a LED fixture. And so the manufacturer rates the life at, you know, they say 20 to 30 years. I mean,
That'll get most of us.
they
Yeah, really.
anticipate it lasting a really long time. We are, you know, hesitant to trust that, you know, 20 to 30 year number. But the maintenance is going to be significantly reduced over the life of the fixture. Where we would normally visit a high pressure sodium fixture 3 or 4 times over the course of its life, we may have one trip to work on the electronics inside the fixture. But we anticipate
How do you charge us for, Brad, how will you charge us for electrical use? Right now, I guess all those regular bulb fixtures are charged on an estimated basis, or you just use a number just a standard number that's used for cost?
Yes,
Monthly
sir.
cost?
So we have an estimated monthly cost for the 150 watt high pressure sodium. Your kWh is going to go from about 8,000 to right at 3,600. So
Wow,
you're
okay.
going to reduce the energy usage by a third. So I think I'm looking at my numbers here. It looks like your monthly electrical portion for Belle Meade Boulevard is going to go from about 560 to about 250.
Well, that's good. That's a great
Energy charge reduction.
Okay.
Let me ask labor cost on changing out one of these LEDs. Is it any different than changing out what we have now? I mean, I realize, you know, you may visit these once a year or whatever, but is there a difference in labor cost for the LED?
No, sir, and that's not that once is not once a year. That's once over the 20-year life. Yes, sir.
Live.
And so where we're hitting the HPS is every 4 or 5 years. We anticipate maybe going to the LED once over the course of 20 years.
So that labor cost, it's put back, it's part of the maintenance agreement, is that right? Or is that an extra charge?
Well, so the maintenance works into the TVA formula where we get that 13%, and any capital maintenance cost would roll into the plant. So, if, for instance, if you were to have a really sharp increase in the maintenance amount of labor that 13% could potentially increase, in the future. So we reevaluate that, Mark and Adam, we reevaluate that percentage annually or every 2 years, or?
But can I ask how long these fixtures have been out on the market? Do you have an answer to that? Any clue?
Right, so Acuity is the parent company for Holophane and American Electric Lighting, which we buy most of our LED fixtures from. They've been around in places like Seattle, Los Angeles, New York City. They've had them for over a decade. The data on the LED fixtures is very, very encouraging. The failure rate of a brand new fixture is less than failure rate of a brand new high pressure sodium, and the life does seem to be holding up. None of them has been up for 30 years, but the ones that are up are still working.
So the danger of discontinuing these fixtures is pretty nil.
Well,
That's not something I guess
right. Holophane is no longer making the existing Belle Meade fixture, so it's not available anywhere. And finding something similar in high pressure sodium, we would strongly recommend converting to LED.
I don't think that's what he's asking. I think he just wants to know if we put up the new fixtures, how long will the new fixtures be available on the market? You all have an inventory of those and stuff?
Yeah, I would anticipate having those in stock as long as, we've had the high pressure sodiums in stock, which has been decades. So I don't foresee any problem with getting the LEDs. We are running into some, discontinuations and lack of availability of the high pressure sodium. Ballast, electronics, and lamps are starting to come a little bit. The cost of all that stuff's going up because it's less available.
Your existing fixtures, your standard fixtures we have on other streets other than Belle Meade Boulevard, are they being replaced with the LEDs, or you don't screw in this LED like a bulb is what you're telling me?
That's correct. So we are not proactively replacing high pressure sodiums with LEDs at this point. If the city of Belle Meade wanted to move in that direction, that's certainly something we could consider. As our guys go out there, and if you wanted to do a proactive replacement of all your fixtures, we could do that. That's a whole nother project with a whole nother cost.
What is the light output of the ones we're talking about for Belle Meade Boulevard versus the ones that are up there? Is it about the same, or is it going to be? I know you said the operating cost is less, but is the output about the same in terms of? Yes,
sir. Yeah. So we've done our best to try to work with the manufacturers as well as Metro Public Works on their projects to keep the output as constant as possible. There are some differences in the way that the LEDs emit the light from the fixture, but we would, hope that this would be very similar lighting, if not a little bit better lighting. And also, we would also kind of lean on Holophane to, recommend anything if they saw something that needed to be improved.
Is it considered? I'm just trying to put this in perspective. Larry, do you have any questions about I guess how the lights clean now, Larry? If you nothing else but just dirt and dust up there, how do you all do that now?
When they service them, they wipe them down and out. But there's no way for us to, we don't have a bucket truck. So I mean,
That would be, that's what you're talking about, maybe in the 5-year process or something that would be, could be done.
Yes, sir. That is one of the main
Okay.
considerations with the LEDs is some type of cleaning, where we currently have a relamping process to swap out the lamps every 5 years. There's potentially some room for a cleaning type process where you would go and clean all the fixtures. We haven't gotten that far down the road on the LEDs yet.
Okay. What about the color, the color of the light? Is it a cool white, or do you know how that's versus what we got now? Look, those lights now look kind of
Yellow?
they look kind of dirty. I don't know whether that's
Yes,
they
sir.
look kind
So the high pressure sodiums are more of an orange fixture. The fixture that we currently stock is a 27 2700 Kelvin color temperature, and so that's still going to be more in the yellowish range to kind of have that more older time look kind of thing. We see the 4000 and 5000 as really ultra bright and glary. So I would recommend, this is a color temperature that is probably right for the setting. But that's something that you guys can evaluate. But this is the one we currently have. And like you said, we'll get the one up, the sample that you have, and also I'll try to get you a list of the existing projects where they've been installed.
That sounds great.
Yeah, great.
Beth, do you have any questions? Lyle, Larry, Lee?
Actually do. 2 quick questions. Not to put you on the spot, but just out of curiosity, if we started in, a few months, how long would it take to install all the lights?
Vaughn, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, 57 poles worth. I'm trying to remember. We had a annexation project recently. I want to say, 10 poles per day per bucket truck. So maybe 2 weeks.
10
Oh, wow.
poles would be about 20 fixtures a day. So yeah, that's about close to what we did up there in Madison.
Oh, okay.
Good. That's quicker than I thought.
Yeah, that is good. And just one more thing on the investment charge. So if we went ahead and paid the $300,000 out up front, the 155 becomes 130-ish, and no lights have to be replaced, everything goes smoothly for a little bit, that 130 is going to come down each year based on the 5.5% depreciation per year, right?
Does not. The investment charge is based on, sorry, I'll get closer. The investment charge is based on the historical cost. It is not based on the net depreciated cost. So it's always that 5.5% is always on your historical cost.
I'm not following that, I'm sorry. So the 155 again becomes 130 if we pay up front.
Yep.
The 130 never comes down?
It does not.
Oh, I misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah, that's how the model's built. Well, there's a separate topic that we haven't discussed here of what's called stranded cost, and that's what is the net book value, and that does take into account the depreciation, and that's where I've got homework, or maybe Adam does, because I got my good tie on today, so I don't want to go up into the dome where all of our records are stored. But yeah, the stranded cost is something that we've got to talk through in terms of if it's fully depreciated, then that has no impact on the project. But think of it this way, if let's say we just installed all these lights 2 years ago, And so we only had 2 years worth of depreciation on them. We're taking those lights out and basically throwing them away. And that remaining 16 years of depreciation cost, if you will, is called stranded. And by regulation, we've got to recoup that. But if these lights have been out there for a long time, I would think that won't be an issue.
So does that mean the 130 could come down?
No, the 130,
No.
because that's kind of the historical, that is the historical cost, and we take the undepreciated. Let me put some words around this differently, because I had to wrap my head around this too, and this is just all regulatorily driven. The regulators say take your historical cost, your undepreciated historical cost, and multiply it by 13%. And that is intended to cover the actual fixed asset cost and some of the overheads, if you will, that it takes to run this business, keeping our lights on, if you will. But that historical cost number never changes. So every year we would come and say, all right, it's 155,000, and multiply that by 13%.
So from here forward, again, if I know that if you have to replace a light or whatever, if we don't pay for that, it adds to the cost. I understand that. So we're saying it'll be about $1,200 some dollars if we take the 25,000 out. We pay that from here on, the investment charge.
That's correct.
Okay.
And what that relates to is, and Brad mentioned this before, that relates to the poles, for example, the conductor, the wire, and so forth, that's feeding all that. If there are pull boxes or control boxes, rather, those are all of those costs.
Okay.
We have to have a mechanism to recoup.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to understand that.
Any questions from anybody else? Well,
No.
Beth, you got all the notes for this?
We do, and it's recorded, so if we need to go back and check
Okay,
something, we can.
good. And so if we can, the nearest, we could call a special commissioner meeting to vote on this, couldn't we, Beth?
Certainly, we can.
We'd like to get this started as soon as possible. So the ball is in our court now to come back and tell you that let's do it. Is that right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. You all have been great to work with. This has been super. Larry, you have anything?
I'll get with Brad later about coming by and getting this fixture and getting it one sample set up. Other than
All right. Are there any action items for the NES folks other than conversation with Brad?
Who is responsible for contacting Hall of Fame about the lead time on these particular fixtures?
I can reach out to Sean.
Okay. I just don't want both of us to be calling him and him not knowing what's going on. That'd be fine.
If you want to, that'd be great. Either way works for me.
Well, Larry and I can contact him.
Okay, cool.
Because regardless of how we pay for this, we want to know when we can get these fixtures. So I think the sooner we contact him, the better. So Larry and I will be happy to work on that. And if we have any questions, Brad, we'll give you a call.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
I think that's everything. And we'll get back with you just as soon as we can, and hopefully we'll get the ball rolling quickly.
Yeah, and if I could offer, as you start going back over the numbers, in particular these concepts of the 13% charge and so forth, if you want to revisit any of that, just send an email to me, because I'll be happy to meet with you, and we can do some examples or just whatever you need. Please feel free to reach out. Happy to help.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. If there's no further questions, then we'll conclude the meeting. And thank you all very, very much.
Oh, it's great to meet y'all.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. Look forward
Thank
to
you.
working with you.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks.
Larry. Klaus, sign us off.